I made a small video on the AYN Thor. Next, I was planning to compare it with the Retroid Pocket Flip 2, just to see how much of an improvement the Thor brings over everyone's favorite clamshell handheld. But then I saw the AYANEO Pocket DS, and I figured comparing two newer ones would make for a much more interesting video. Let's start with what you'll notice first, the size and feel. The AYN Thor keeps that classic clamshell design. Two OLED screens, a clean hinge, and a layout that feels familiar if you grew up with a DS or 3DS. It's compact, easy to hold, and feels like something built to be played on the go. The AYANEO Pocket DS is not small. In fact, it's much bigger and heavier, around 534 grams versus 380 of Thor. That's mainly because its materials: metal top shell, larger screens, and full ergonomic grips. It feels more like a mini handheld PC than a pocketable gaming device. It focuses on build quality over portability. AYN Thor goes for two full OLED panels, both functional and touch-enabled, and 6-inch 120Hz main and 3.9-inch 60Hz secondary screen. The AYANEO Pocket DS uses a 7-inch OLED top screen and a 5-inch bottom display. The secondary LCD screen is clear and perfectly fine for multitasking, though you can notice the difference compared to the main display. Since it's mostly used for smaller tasks or side functions, I think most people will be okay with this. It's just that Thor focuses on a more traditional DS-style experience, while Pocket DS leans more toward multitasking and productivity. Both devices can run separate apps on each screen. You can play a game on the main display while using the second one for a video guide, chat, resource monitor, or emulator controls, even heavy Android games. Not sure why you would do it, but AYANEO boldly show off this in their showcase. The AYN Thor runs on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is more than enough for Android gaming and emulation. It easily handles GameCube, PS2, Wii, Switch titles, and some small Windows games. The Pocket DS takes things up a notch with the Snapdragon G3X Gen 2, a newer and faster chip. It can run whatever Thor runs, and then PC streaming and Windows emulation will be better. Thor is already enough for retro stuff, but if you want more, the Pocket DS is for you. In the Pocket DS, the controls sit a little higher than usual. The layout feels a bit cramped, and reaching for the D-pad or triggers can cause some strain. The buttons themselves feels great, but placement isn't ideal. It's usable, but not comfortable for long DS or 3DS marathons. On the other hand, it also has ergonomic grips, so it may feel comfortable to handle with big hands. The Thor feels little more natural. The controls are closer together, the spacing is tighter, but again, because of the second screen, the controls sit a little farther out, but it's better than the Pocket DS. Pocket DS's gives around 11 hours for light gaming, 8 hours for retro emulation across both screens, and 3 to 4 hours for heavy gaming like Switch or PC streaming. Standby drain is minimal too, losing just a few % overnight. The Thor, being smaller and more efficient, lasts around 6 to 8 hours for regular use, which is still a solid duration. The AYN Thor is for people who miss the DS and 3DS days. It's light, pocketable, and affordable. It's more than enough for Android games, retro emulation, and even some Windows titles through streaming apps. The AYANEO Pocket DS, on the other hand, feels like a more premium experience. Powerful and more polished, but also heavier and pricier. The screens reflect that difference too. The AYN Thor's displays have an aspect ratio that feels closer to the original DS and 3DS, which gives it that familiar stacked screen vibe when playing retro titles. It's clearly designed with that nostalgic layout in mind. The AYANEO Pocket DS has larger, wider screens that lean more toward multitasking. Great for running guides, chats, or apps alongside your game, rather than recreating the old DS feel.